Welcome to our new Objective 50, Strategies for Student Success. This objective is intended to make students aware of stress and stress management techniques, as well as introduce note-taking skills and study tips. The objective is our first portfolio objective, so it is quite different from other ELCivics objectives. The student guides are much shorter than our traditional student guides. In fact, they're only 10 pages. Students complete different types of tasks too. Let's take a look.
Here's the beginning low student guide. On page 1, students read a brief paragraph about stress and write answers to questions. This gray box is actually one of the 5 portfolio tasks students complete for this portfolio objective. In accordance with the college and career readiness standards, we are introducing words from the academic word list, even at level 2. This is why you see words like definition, example, and respond. This task is worth 4 points, 2 points per sentence. Pages 2 and 3 of the student guide introduce the effects of stress and stress relief strategies. These lessons will help students complete assessment task 2 on page 4 of the student guide. Write 4 sentences about stress and stress relief. Here is assessment task 2 in gray, worth 8 points. Page 5 introduces students to note-taking strategies, such as using symbols and abbreviations. On page 6, students complete assessment task 3, taking notes on a video about study tips. Beginning low and beginning high students complete a cloze activity. You see 2 note-taking activities, one on page 6 and one on page 7. This is to give students practice on note-taking and to give students who may be absent one day an opportunity to complete task 3. Students who complete both note-taking cloze activities will select the highest score to enter into the checklist, task 5, on page 10, which you will see in a moment. Page 8 lists resources for you and your students, so you can extend instruction and explore the topics introduced in Objective 50 more thoroughly. On page 9, students reflect on learning by selecting a lesson that was most helpful to them and by sharing what the lesson will help them do in writing. In addition to writing about how the lesson will help them, students remove the lesson from their portfolio and attach it to this page. The last task, Assessment Task 5, located on page 10, is an assessment checklist. While your students are working their way through their portfolio, they will enter in the points they receive for each task on this checklist. Remember, there are 2 note-taking assessments, so students will select the best score to enter on this checklist. Now let's take a look at the Intermediate High Student Guide. This guide is formatted like the beginning level guide. Students read about stress and answer text-dependent questions. Assessment tasks are indicated by the gray shaded boxes. Page 2 and 3 introduce the effects of stress on the human body and how to reduce stress. On page 4, students complete Assessment Task 2. Write a paragraph about stress and stress relief. On page 5, students read tips to take better notes and practice using symbols and abbreviations. Task 3A is a note-taking exercise based on a video about study habits. Students will write a summary of the video based on their notes. This is Task 3B, worth 8 points. As in the beginning level guide, students have 2 opportunities to complete this task. A resource page is provided on page 8. On page 9, students reflect on learning and select a lesson that was helpful, just as in the beginning level guide. The last page contains the checklist and the instructor report.
Once your students complete all assessment tasks, add their scores to find the total. Then, complete the instructor's report on the bottom of page 10. Detach this last page from the student's portfolio. Staple it to the lesson selected by the student in Task 4 and submit this with a copy of your roster to the ELCivics office.